Of course.
Oh, man. You didn't come see Santa the other day, did you?
I know, no, I forgot.
We missed you.
Oh, so sorry.
For real.
1 minute.
It was nice. Quick and nice, I'd say.
I see you posted on Facebook.
You saw it?
I
Good.
saw some
Good, good,
some
good.
of the
I'm
pictures.
so glad the hashtag is working as I thought it would. Because I was kind of scared for a second. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, that looks better with the Merry Christmas up there.
Mhm.
Definitely. Did you see Amy commenting on my post?
Okay, we do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Call the meeting to order and do a roll call, please.
Trustee Wakely, Trustee Kranza,
Here.
Trustee Laceland. Here. President Bing.
Here.
Trustee G. Here. Trustee Walker. Trustee Pennell.
Here.
Tom Green.
Here. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion to approve the minutes. These are the minutes of the committee meeting from November the 14th.
I'll make a motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to the bills, over the bills. We have here Blue Ribbon. This was work that was done on Village Hall. We had some electrical work done in the building that needed to be done. 1170.76. Testing, both halves of their contract, 3958.33 and 3958.34. Sewer testing 118, water testing 17 and 17. Sewer testing 118. Sable was in to do maintenance on our pumps, 1675.50. Biscotti, their monthly fee 126. Johnson Tractor, we had maintenance done on the tractor, 110.70. Electrical inspection, 190, that was on a building inspection. Casey's Gasoline, 171.55. Martin Company Excavating, they worked on the replacement of that culvert on East Street in Ogden, I'm sorry, in Ogden, 825. Another zoning review, $70. Boone Township Roads, this was for the work that was done at East Street, $5,000. Phil's Electric did some jetter work on Fifth Street, $790. And then ComEd, 101060, 14667, 99505, 2345, 1668, 155460, 438961, 8552, and then Frontier, 52529. And 667.90, and then Barrick Switzer, 612, 85, and 4012. That's a total of 32,440.55, of which 15,223 comes out of the general fund, and 17,217.55 comes out of water and sewer. Got any questions? Okay, can I have a motion to approve the bills?
I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Trustee Wakely, Trustee Kranza,
Aye.
Trustee Laceland.
Aye.
President Bing.
Aye.
Trustee G.
Aye.
Trustee Walker. Trustee Pennell.
Aye.
Okay, so that passes. All right, next, do we have any public comments? Okay, then we're gonna move on to Surf Internet. Scott, You and I talked over we talked on the phone and online, and you guys said you wanted to come in and make a presentation to us about high-speed internet, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the floor.
Okay. I guess I'll lead off, introduce Jen here, we're together with Surf Internet. Good evening, I like the festive look of the room. Very nice touch.
Ready for
Um,
Christmas.
So we're Surf Internet, I don't know if you've heard of our company before?
No.
We are, we're a registered utility, which means we bring fiber infrastructure to communities. And then we're also an ISP. So once the fiber network is in place, we're an ISP for an internet service provider for residents of communities. We've been in the broadband business for 3 decades. And we're actually headquartered in Elkhart, Indiana, but we serve in 3 states only. So our footprint is here in Illinois and over in Indiana and up into Michigan. And we're mostly aligned with or working with communities that I would describe as smaller, rural. If I were to name some places, we have offices in
Coal City, we have Rock Falls, Coal City. Here closest to us, we have school, Belvedere, and we're working with Isaac Guerrero on the incentive for the Boone County. We cover 7 counties in Illinois. One of our biggest markets right now that we're opening up closest to you is Dixon. That was one of our biggest 2 gig markets closest to you. And we do a lot of schools. We have over 600 schools on our belt, and we just passed our 100,000 of their milestone mark passings. And we do a lot of event work.
Yeah, so, like Jen said, she's naming some places. Earlier today, we had a meeting over in Freeport. I think tomorrow night, we're meeting with your neighbor down the way over at Poplar Grove.
Okay.
And she mentioned Isaac, also Jerry Rudolph with the schools. So basically, we're working throughout the state. We just did a groundbreaking over in Herscher, Illinois, Herscher and Limestone. And that's kind of a nice analogy for over here because we're actually already invested in the area, and a lot of people don't even know our name because we've been working with the schools for some time. That's how we know. That's how we know Jerry. So actually, Boone County, they're working to try to see how they can serve more of the entire county. And we're in that conversation with economic development. But because we have a fiber network in place with the schools, and at the end of those, at the end of that network, we have the 2 communities of Poplar Grove and your area here at Capron. So we'd like to, it makes sense for us to start building out into the community. And then after that, the long-term play that we're involved in is with your broadband with the state and with the BEAD, which is BEAD, that's the federal dollars that are going all toward broadband. So we're very aligned with all of that and working. And that's going to help us, if you were to kind of zoom in from a map and all the places that we're at, you start to see the gaps in between, and those are those very rural areas. Well, in order to fill those in and be successful with grant money, it helps to have the fiber network in place in the communities first.
Securing these towns will give us the access and the plant closer to get to those rural areas that are just out of reach.
So that's a little bit about us. We're interested in coming here. That's what we want to talk to you a little bit about. And we can kind of talk about fiber, its benefits. We can get scientific and all that kind of stuff about fiber as well. But we also want to be mindful of your questions that you might have. You know, the difference between fiber or whatever you're using now at the home. But what we have intended is to build a network in your community so that we're serving fiber to the home itself and to any address that's going past. That includes your building here, the kind of assets that you have to manage your town. We can talk about how those fit into the network as well so that we can service those. And then I think I sent you something earlier to look at that just sort of unpacks a little bit of the process of construction. And we don't need to go down those weeds unless we want to tonight. That was to give you a sneak peek of some of the next steps that we would take after we can agree that maybe there's some mutual interest.
What exactly are you looking for from the village? I mean, I understand what you want to bring here, but
Yeah.
what's our part in this puzzle?
We're interested. We're hoping you're interested.
Okay,
And we're not coming to ask for anything financially or anything like that. We're funded, and that means we want to come here. And if there's a mutual agreement on need, opportunity, and interest, then we can start to work at your pace, but keep a conversation going that keeps the next step and the next step. A few next steps might look like we would come back with a little bit more substance to a package like we provided here to show you what the build plan looks like. And we start to go down the road of those topics that are in there so that we're talking with you, your utility people or your public works people, anyone involved in that process of a permit or locates, anyone that have questions or input onto what the construction actually looks like when you're drilling around the town, those types of things.
Strips is a very community-based company, and creating a partnership with the towns help us reach those rural areas and help us reach more people in the grants. We form a partnership, so we like a strong partnership in the entire community. It just helps us to get better known, and like he said, we're not well known as much here. We're not a big brand like what our competitors are. We do have things that set aside from that. We build the community as a whole. We don't just come into the community looking for those big anchors. We build to the small mom and pop stores. We also have a special pricing for those that actually gives them access to fiber, which they may have not had before. And we build to every home. And a lot of bonuses come with our service. We have no install charges. We have no data caps, no price lock guarantee. And then all of our equipment does come in our packages, which sets us aside. And I did bring some of our equipment here if you want to take a peek. I do want to point out that we are 100% glass fiber. So it is fiber to the home, and it's not wireless. A lot of times we get confused for wireless. In our past, we started off as a wireless company. I think that's what we're most well known for in Illinois. And that's what we're trying to separate from here in Illinois, is to create that knowledge and they know what service we're installing in their yard. You hear wireless, and that's not as forward as people would like. So we want to make sure we don't have any confusion there on what we're installing.
Right.
And this is what it looks like. 2 of these tiny angel hair fibers can feed an entire town or continent. What we're installing now in the ground will outlive everybody in this room, so that's really neat. Schools and governments have been on it for decades. We're just now getting it to the home, which is exciting. With the need for telehealth everything going online, the demand is there, and we're trying to get access. This area especially has been a big need of having more reliable internet.
Is everyone pretty up to speed on fiber? And
So-
everyone,
Gosh.
is everyone familiar with the fiber and all that, and like, why is it a big deal, or?
Well, they know it's a lot faster, you can
Yes.
carry a lot more data.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
That's about
what
it.
we say to communities is when you make the decision to put this in, you're future-proofing your community.
Yes.
You're checking the box for economic development for the future. Because any other source of broadband, like the federal government has its definition of broadband, which is a certain speed. So you may be served or underserved in certain places around here, but if you were to go home and do that speed test, only fiber is going to give you the symmetrical speed, which is important, upload and download. And it's not only speed, but in today's world, it's about capacity. So if you have 20 devices or 200 devices in the future, they're all taken from your bandwidth today. We don't need to worry about that fiber. It's a constant. There's no known capacity yet. So if we come in here and we offer up to multi-gig or 1 gig or 2 gig at the top, we don't know which one it'll be. You're built into your network for the future. So it can actually go up to 25 gig today, but the world's not ready for that. Our devices aren't ready for that. Your phones can't handle that. Your video cards and your computers can't handle it. But as technology does allow for more capacity and higher speeds, Surf's always will replace that equipment at the end of the networks. That allows the options so that if you're signed up with us and someday it goes up to 5 gig and you're at 1, it's easy to just make a phone call and you can have the other speeds.
Another difference is there's no electronics in our equipment, so we don't have, when the storms happen, the transformers blow up, you have no service for hours or days. That won't happen with us. There's no electric on the line.
So,
Are you looking to bury this or put it on
yeah,
poles?
Barry.
Prefer burial,
That's our preferred.
aerial when necessary. There is areas like downtown where we do have to go aerial when it makes sense, and that's part of what we go over in the pre-construction of the town.
You have a lot of green space up and down when I drove too, so I don't know if we'll even need to.
Well, don't confuse that green space with village
Okay.
property, because a lot of it's not.
Okay.
Would you be
Okay.
looking to do a license agreement or a franchise agreement, a formal agreement, or simply seeking permits to?
Seeking permits.
Put the lines in the right of way?
Yeah, seeking permits.
As
This comes up all the
Combat-
time, especially in Illinois, or in the 3 states. And,
Well, I worked with Surf Wireless, if it's the same, Surf Air Wireless?
yeah, that's our parent company.
We don't-
And then we rebranded years ago to Surf Internet.
This was 2021, it was in the Chesney Park.
We do not do TV. There is we were at a time entertaining the idea of doing television, so we were able to do that at that time. We do not offer television, so we cannot do a franchise fee,
Right.
moving forward, unfortunately.
Other than TV can come through.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
YouTube
It's just
or
the,
whatever,
it's just the
comes through your
utility in
end.
the ground and then the choice to, for streaming. So the world's changing, so a lot of those franchise agreements in places, they're old, they're still there, they're functional till at some point in the future, but they're probably all gonna go away because we just had this discussion earlier with the other town and it's actually illegal to have a franchise agreement.
Well, of course, our internet
Well, and
company.
that was gonna be my point, is it's kind of moved away from that, we're just looking at permitting, and I don't recall exactly the language of our ordinance, but you're in the right of way where you have to be in the right of way, but you're willing to go into utility easements where utility easements exist in newer subdivisions, so they're
Yeah.
not disrupting the right of way.
Right, so when we get down to that plan and we sort of look at things together from a high level to a low level plan, then you have the opportunity to see where we're gonna go and have input.
Typically, if you have access to my
Can
GPS
you,
system, we do.
I know it's
all of
difficult,
that.
but can you tell me what an average home would pay for
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
service?
Comparable to what we have locally right now.
Depends on the size. A person of one, our packages start at $35, and then our gig packaging is at $85. That price does fluctuate between the markets across the 3 states.
But it's an average.
It's like within $5.
Mhm.
I've been here for 4 years, and actually, it's stayed consistent. We have the price lock guarantee, so when they lock into that package, they're locked for the
Locked.
term of their contract.
Good.
Obviously, eventually, it's gonna go up to 2 again and higher, but if that package works for them, that's what they are locked in at.
Yeah, most of our packages are 100 or 500 speed up and down, or multi-gig. And like Jen said, those are average prices. So $55 to $70 to $85 for like gig speed. And like she said, with us, we keep it simple for the residents. That's just been our philosophy from the beginning. So we don't have connection fees. We don't add fees and taxes on top of your bill. That's just what it is. What
The
else?
equipment's included in the bill. This is what our modem looks like, and this is all it is one hard fiber into your home. You don't have to wire every room of your house. It is wirelessly transmitted from the one hard fiber, which this can go to a switch or to the wireless zero, depending on how tech savvy you are in your home.
Yeah.
These are home mesh capable, so they can home network in your house. Each package comes with at least one of these. Our bigger packages do come with 2, because usually that means more people.
Bigger space, do you need more than one of those
We-
for, multiple buildings on your
Yes.
property?
And it depends on the building, so I don't like to quote how many you would need, because it
Yeah.
depends on the walls and
Yeah,
the setup
right.
layout. But, like I said, 1 or 2 come with the package, and you can also run your own, or you can buy your own. We
Okay.
also don't make you use ours.
So it works with,
Mhm.
oh, cool.
It works,
Now,
you don't have
are
to use
these-
a router, you can use any router that you have.
Are these fees like forever fees, or are they
Yeah.
gonna be increased over
No.
time?
No, that's been,
Box.
we've been doing this for a long time, so that's why we say the price lock is for life.
No
Okay.
stair-stepping pricing, none of that. It's just one lock price. Everything's
Okay.
just one simple package.
We were after 2 things, simplicity and affordability. That's why she mentioned the $35 option, that's 50 speed. That's involved with like your ACP program
Yeah, the
that helps people.
Affordable connectivity program.
If we come to some sort of an agreement and we say, yeah, why don't you guys come in and put in your infrastructure, what happens if somebody else after you wants to come in and do the same thing? Is that allowed or not allowed?
It's allowed.
It's allowed.
Allowed.
We can't stop
Okay.
that.
So we're not gonna stifle competition?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
I mean, typically, if there's someone building, they do stray away. They don't we don't overwork over each other.
Okay.
Best case scenario, I'm not saying it can't happen, but as of right now, that's not happening yet.
Just trying to think of some questions to
I
ask
know.
you guys.
We're here because we want to be, and nobody else that we believe is yet. And there's some communities we've showed up, and who knows when they're going to have that option.
So
That's
I
okay.
noticed your cable is very tiny. Okay.
And that's just an example cable.
But I was watching, I mean, we've had people here that have been burying cable, fiber optic cable. That's about,
Yes.
Well, that's
the
probably.
big orange
That's
cables.
Probably it- Well, that's the casing probably. You're
Yeah.
probably seeing the conduit.
So this
Okay.
does go into a conduit, and
Okay.
it's more waterproof.
But
It's not
what-
waterproof,
what
but
is
it's
this, a bundle?
water.
Is this a 96 bundle?
I believe so. They 96.
So they come in 96, 144, like 288,
Okay,
and it might
okay,
be the long haul or some transport that's really going
okay,
from
okay,
somewhere else.
okay, okay.
This
So
is-
would you tie in off of that, or, I mean, how would you bring it into town? I know you'd bury cables, but
Well, it all starts-
where's your end, where's the end point?
Just like today, in even in your DSL and copper, it starts at your big data centers, and then it works your way. It's just the difference is the technology of getting that signal here is turning to fiber, which is light, traveling through the glass.
Right.
So it's coming from those big data centers.
No, that's not what what I meant is, where's your connect point right
How
now?
close are
We
you?
Yeah.
we would have a cabinet placed in town here where everything would splice into, and then go out through the town there. We use.
Yeah,
our
but where
perimeters.
would that plug into?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that's future
Rochelle,
talks.
Rochelle's where our closest data center, it would come
Is
from
that- So
Rochelle.
so we already have the connectivity with the school.
Okay,
And
that's what I
honestly-
wanted.
Sorry,
to
I'll-
know.
that's
Okay.
the
And I-
question.
yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm assuming, because the schools right here, when they said, when we look,
We
we
have
have
it
a
over
map
there.
that shows the
Or
fiber
North
network.
Brook.
Maybe I might be able to pull up the picture, you might know.
Ruth Bowman.
Oh, you better, I don't know if you're talking the elementary school or the high school, so,
They're very different.
yeah.
Far apart.
The elementary school's right down
I see
here.
right across the street, isn't it?
That's the
No.
elementary school.
No,
That's the
that's a
elementary.
church.
That's a church.
Well,
No, but
right-
yeah.
right
Over
but
that
it's
way.
over.
Yeah, a few blocks down that
Yeah,
way.
that's the elementary school.
I drove in there just to see if I could see anything that's visible
Yeah.
evidence.
So if you're
of
looking
fiber.
at like the high school, that's that yonder,
That's
okay?
several miles.
Yeah. So I just want you to know that too,
Yeah,
so,
No, and we work with our provider, we work together to get
Okay.
transport to where it needs to go.
okay.
The Illinois has a goal of having access by 2025, and
Okay.
that's a pretty lofty goal. There's no way we're gonna get to that without working together.
Okay.
What's the process of burying the line? Is it just a,
We do a directional bore.
A directional bore
water-based-
generally?
Yep, hydraulics. In the easement, we go deeper in the easement with a bigger machine, and then we don't bury it to the home unless they want service. If they want service, we have a smaller ditch witch that comes, and it's a smaller trench, 6 to 8 inches, and they call in the locates for that and install properly.
So as long as we don't have to make everybody,
No.
okay.
They will be in we do have to build out throughout the whole town, because we can't skip over a house.
The red lines
So one of the questions we do cover is if we have any private roads, if we don't get everybody's agreement on those private roads, there's a possibility we can't build those. We
So
would
are
need
you,
everybody's
in
agreement on
order to
those.
bring
We have
your
a process
infrastructure
agreement
in here,
for that.
are you gonna wanna do some sort of a study ahead of time?
No.
To determine whether it's feasible for you to come in here?
We don't do an interest feasibility like other towns. We are approaching you now because it's in our design feasibility right now. Once we get that approved, we would go to the next steps.
Okay,
At this point, it's past our point, so I believe it's moving forward. I don't wanna say for certain that we are gonna come to town, but it looks like that we have a good green light to proceed.
okay.
Just for curiosity's sake, I was showing him the red lines here as the network coming from and into the areas
Oh, you must
going to the
check
schools.
those.
Oh, that's all right, that's all right.
I can, if
No,
you're
that's
curious,
okay.
I can send
All
that.
right, so.
Yeah, you can email it to me and then I
Okay.
can confirm.
All right, so you're willing to come in and put in your cable or your
Five.
fiber optic?
fiber optics without knowing whether you'll have any customers or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
We
okay.
have an investor, and it's part of the incentive to get Illinois connected.
Okay.
Part of the grant.
Right.
Without having access to these towns, it's harder to get to those rural areas that they really need
Okay,
the.
We do a lot of
connection.
feasibility work behind the scenes before we come and talk to you.
okay,
And so
They
the
know.
bottom line is, it's our risk, our gamble. We're coming in town on our dime, and it's funded a number of ways. This one's not funded by any grants. And we do our homework, so we know nobody has to sign up, and then it's our loss. But we also have a pretty good idea of a certain penetration level we plan to achieve over a certain amount of time. And we usually exceed that by almost double.
We
Okay,
typically see 20 to 30% within our first year, just because it's a new service and how the availability of it.
okay. Okay, just so you know, this is a committee meeting tonight, so we don't make any decisions at a committee meeting.
We're just introducing it.
Yeah.
Information
And
only.
let's be clear, I mean, you have the right to come in and install your lines in our right of
Yeah,
way.
we just, we
It's
like
better
this
if you partner
approach.
with the town.
Right, no, I get it, I'm just making it clear for the board.
Yeah.
It's not,
It's not something we can stop them
it's
from
not like we
doing.
can say absolutely not, I mean, if they,
Yeah.
If you
No,
don't
but-
want
I think
it, though,
it's
we don't
tricky.
typically.
Right.
But I think-
We want to be friends.
no,
Yeah.
I just think high-speed internet needs to be here, okay?
Yeah.
I'm
What we can do is
interested in
permit,
learning
you
more.
know, require a permit, and then through the permit, we can get our engineers to see where they're putting it, is it been in the right
Yeah,
place, is it
yeah,
is
so
it least obtrusive, you
what-
know?
What I propose is that let this board digest what you brought us tonight, and then we'll discuss it again at our next meeting, which is December 26th. And if we're in agreement, then I'll get a hold of you guys and we'll take it to the next step.
Great.
I do want to circle back to what he said with the permit process. That's the most we ask the town, is if we can attain a blanket permit process or something similar to that. Sometimes we've done it by region, just to keep the building process going smoothly. And with that, we do check in, we do touch points with the city, nothing goes in that the city doesn't approve. It's just to keep those permits flowing.
Okay.
And keeping the trucks moving.
Well, we'll be as expeditious about this as possible, but, you know, we have meetings every 2 weeks. And our first meeting of the month is a committee meeting, the second meeting's our business meeting, and that's when we do this. So, I'll get a hold of you either right before or right after the first of the year. And
Perfect.
I got a feeling that we'll probably move forward with this to see where we can go with
Can I
it.
ask if any of the residents, you have any questions or? No. Okay.
Okay?
Thank you for your time
Thank
today.
you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have the MFT, which stands for Motor Fuel Tax Funds. And the Bureau of Investigations and Compliance came out here shortly after we took office and had to do an investigative audit because there were some complaints made. I don't want to go into those because they got nothing to do with this audit. But they went back some 10 years in the records, and they found 5 instances of non-compliance. I think 5 instances of non-compliance over 10-plus years is not so bad, okay? But none of them happened, they all happened before this administration took over, okay? So there's 5 of them, and it just says, like finding number 1, as noted during the audit of the motor fuel tax fund, the village failed to deposit to an MFT bank account ending in 064 and recorded in the MFT ledger allotments of 25/60/57 and 18/49/09 dated September 30th, 2020. And they go on like that. Another one is failure to submit maintenance expenditure statement within the required time, and that was submitted in July of '22, but the problem existed, it was due March 31st, 2021, which was a month before I took office, okay? So everything in here has been fixed, okay? And what we're going to do, I have to send them a corrective action response. So basically what we did is instead of money coming in from MFT and Rebuild Illinois and going through like our general fund, which is like a pass-through account, and then gets deposited into the MFT, everything now is being directly deposited into the MFT fund. So there is no lag, there is no I forgot to do it, it's where, okay? There's a couple of other instances here where the paperwork had not been approved prior to the expenditure of funds, and the other corrective action that we're going to do for that is that all the expenditures, all the MFT type projects that we are going to do are going to go through the county engineer, Justin Crone, and we are going to, and we have for the last 2 years, we piggyback our project onto everybody in Boone County's project so that we get a break on the materials and the labor because it's a bulk project, okay? And Justin takes care of all the paperwork, and he gets it to me, and after he gets it to me, then this board passes the resolution to spend the money, and then after you guys pass the resolution to spend the money, and we get the, and then I can send all that to the county, and once they get that, then we're approved for the project, and then when we get the bill, we can pay it. That's the way the process works now. I don't know how the process worked before, but that takes a lot of load off us because we don't have to do all the paperwork, and we get notified as the process goes along, and we get a break in the cost of the project. So those are the corrective actions that I'm going to send to them. I went over with Brian from Sikich, our head accountant, and he said those answers should be pretty good for them. So that's what I'm going to do, okay? But I want you all to have a copy of this so you know what's going on, okay? All right, any questions? Okay, by the way, Crystal busted her butt on this audit. They came after her like from 3 different directions, and she's down there going through banker's boxes and stuff trying to find records, and she did an outstanding job on this audit, and I just want you all to know that, okay? All right. Next is the house on 3rd Street that we talked about, okay? So I'm assuming you all had a chance to look at it, or you know which house it is, okay? And I was actually here when Crystal tried to contact him by phone and left him a message, and haven't heard a word. So I don't know what he thinks is gonna happen, but I think maybe we need to send some stronger communication to this individual and make sure he understands what the consequences could be, right? Okay? And then after we send him a letter, then we can move forward with a building inspector? Okay, so,
We talked about last
this.
time, the process of demolishing it.
Right.
There's a procedure that we can go through. It doesn't require us to go to court.
So we're gonna give him a couple more weeks, because this is a committee meeting, but I just wanna go over it one more time. And if we don't hear from this individual by the time we have our business meeting, then I'm gonna ask you to make a decision on whether we should move forward with the process, okay? All right.
Prior to you calling him the other day, you've been trying to get a hold of him how many months?
No, it's been a while. It's been at least 3 months where he has not returned, and I call him a lot.
Okay?
And again, this house is open, vacant.
Yeah, it's not secure.
Continuing hazard.
Yeah, yeah.
He used to clean it up, like when I would call him, he would answer, he would come out, or he would pay the neighbor to mow it, and then he just stopped altogether. So,
Okay.
it literally just probably stopped like 3 months ago or so. And then I haven't seen him or anything, because normally you would see him randomly, because my sister lives right across the street. So I would see him out there, but I haven't seen him at all.
Okay, so the next thing on here is the ordinance to amend Chapter 10, Title 2 zoning. We don't currently have a zoning ordinance for solar of any kind, okay? So what this does is it defines what the solar projects are supposed to look like and what the requirements are as far as building inspection, et cetera, correct?
Right, what we've got is, first we insert into our zoning ordinance where solar is permitted simply as a permitted use. An example would be roof mounted in residential, it's generally permitted use. Or a special use, ground mounted or large array and so forth. So we would insert that into our zoning code as to where it is, where it's permitted and where it's a special use. That's the first one. That requires that you have a hearing. Generally, our committee of the whole sort of doubles as our ZBA, and we'd have to notice it out. We could notice it out for January and have a 15-minute public hearing or 5-minute public hearing, however long it takes, and then recommend it to the board later in January. The second ordinance that's on here, if you don't mind me talking about both, is basically design standards. If you're going to build it, here's what Greg Wilcox will enforce. He's seen all this, the zoning enforcement person's seen this stuff. they've made some comments. I think they're probably ready to go. So that's my quick review.
Basically, this is adding a chapter. It's adding a chapter to Title IX. There is no Chapter 11 right now. It ends at 10, all right? But this will allow, I mean, we got, if you look at them all, there's residential, and then there's multifamily, and then there's this, and then there's that. And each one of them tells you if you're gonna put up a fence, it's gotta look like this, or if you're gonna put this in, it's gotta look like that, and it's gotta be this far from there, et cetera, et cetera. But there's nothing for solar. So what this particular ordinance does, it contains all the definitions and requirements for putting up a solar project, whether it be residential or multifamily or light industrial or business, it's all in here, okay? So it basically creates the solar section of our zoning code, is what it does.
Zoning in the one aspect, and then design standards.
Yeah.
Once you're gonna build it, what our building inspector will look at, and as I said, he's seen it,
So, and the other part of this is going to be that we're going to modify our building permit
Fee schedule?
to add in solar fees, because there's nothing on that right now, we're just playing it by ear. So we've kind of got one that we use for residential, because that's all we had to deal with so far. But if somebody was gonna come in like they were gonna do on Show Street, we don't have anything to address a project that size. These are some of the things that have to be done to allow that to happen. So we're not gonna make any decision on this again tonight. We're gonna do this after Christmas, okay? So you all got a chance to go over this, and if you have any questions about it, please bring them to the meeting in December, on December 26th, and we'll go over them as best we can, okay? Any questions? All right, next I got on here is an annual Capron event. I don't want to talk about doing the same thing we just did with the sesquicentennial. I'm not talking about doing anything that grand, but we talked about doing something on an annual basis for the village. Just, I'm not gonna have a carnival in here, but we could do, just to give you an example, we could have the climbing wall back, and we could have a couple of bounce houses. We could have the fire department here with their equipment. We could have the police department with their equipment. Maybe they can do a dog demonstration. We could have car seat safety check. We could have a bike lane for kids. We could have a few other, maybe one or two food trucks, and have it just like one day from noon to 6 or something, and put a title on it. I know we just got done with the sesquicentennial, and that was a heck of a big project. And I just want to throw it out there. I mean, it would be nice if we had something to promote the community and bring people in from outside to help our businesses out and stuff too. The more attraction we get, the more attraction we get. So just something to think about. Brainstorm amongst yourselves or whatever, see if you got any other ideas or whether we should do this at all, and we'll talk about it as time goes on, okay? All right. Now, we normally would do our water report on the committee meeting, but we were informed by Ian with Tess that from now on we'll have the water report for the business meeting. So the next meeting, we will do the business report, the financial report together, okay? So with that, Trustee Wakely's not here. Trustee Carranza, anything?
No.
Okay. Trustee Lacewell? Okay. Trustee Agee?
I just want to toss this out there, I'm talking to Crystal. The Village of Poplar Grove does something called an Angel Tree, and they work with North Boone School to find out those families that are having a tough time and could possibly benefit from the Angel Tree. Angel Tree is where they give you a person and what they would like for Christmas, something their family can afford, whatever's their wish list. And you come in, you pick out a few of them, you go buy those presents, you bring them back to where you got them from the Angel Tree. The person in charge of that then distributes them to the family. I'd like to talk about possibly doing that starting next year for the families in Capron. We have a tree that's in the front lobby. I don't see why we can't turn it into an angel tree and give to some of those families that maybe can't afford it.
Is there a way to coordinate with Poplar Grove to make sure somebody doesn't double dip?
I've actually got an email out to the principal of the elementary school and the superintendent of the school district, asking them, how do we go about doing one for Capron? Because I think Poplar Grove is just for Poplar Grove. The principal did get back to me and says that the social workers are the ones that usually coordinate all that. So I'm still working with them to get a hold of the social worker and talk to her about how we can start it for next year.
I like
And
it.
as long as we're talking Christmas, I want to thank Rachel and Crystal and Melissa for taking pictures and getting everything set up in here and cleaning up afterwards and doing a good job. We really appreciate it. Yeah, everybody that was here had a good time. Santa Claus was here. He got all the mail that was left in the mailbox, so, and it is getting picked up. So if anybody wants to put any letters to Santa Claus in our mailbox, they're getting delivered where they need to go, okay? All right. Trustee Walfarth is not here. Trustee Panau, anything? Okay. So before I ask for a motion to adjourn, I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. We're not going to be here until after Christmas, so everybody have a safe Christmas, and hope everybody gets what they want, and nobody gets stuck in a chimney, okay? And with that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
I
Thank you.
knew you were gonna grab